So the question is whether or not you have to use lifting shoes when you're doing kettlebell sport. So my opinion is depends on your experience level. When you're first getting into it with kettlebell sport, your technique is what's going to make you better. Learning technique, not by buying fancy shoes. Just like having the world's fastest car isn't going to make you a good driver. Having the world's most expensive bike in the Tour de France is not going to make you a good cyclist. Now, once you get to a certain level, then yes, they definitely can, but it's small. Okay, so when I do get into using lifting shoes for kettlebell sport, is definitely for long cycle and jerk. Not so much with snatch, because snatch you move around, it's one kettlebell. But with jerk, and I'll show you why, is because you're producing force away from the ground, and when you're wearing shoes such as this, or anything, but I'm just using these as an example, these are fairly spongy, okay? So when I'm driving through this shoe, also, this is dissipating some of the power, okay? So I'm smushing this. I'm also getting a little lean. If I'm standing out wider, these shoes can bend. The difference is when you're using the lifters, okay, they're hard, and all that force you're putting into the ground to launch the kettlebell isn't going to be dissipated through this. There isn't any lateral shifting. So the thing about long cycle is when you're going for a long time doing clean and jerk, if you're wearing shoes that are spongy, it can cause some people, especially when you're getting better at it and going for a longer time, it can cause people's feet to get really tired. And what's happening is, in my mind, what's happening is you're reacting to that shift and change of the smushy shoe. Because it's not running, you're staying in one spot. So you keep trying to adapt to that shifty, mushy feel, and your muscles get really, really tired. Because look, it's all mesh and everything. So anyway, once we put on this shoe, it is much stiffer. I'm just going to do this kind of quick. Now, I don't have as much lateral motion. You can see from that, this is very, very tight. It's not going to keep me, it's not going to allow me to stretch out over the base. I'm going to, let me fix this up. I'm going to get these out of the way. Drop those down. You can probably see the difference of the heel. So yeah, lifting shoes do have a slightly elevated heel, but they're not smushed, they're not spongy, okay? So as in this, it's spongy in the front, spongy back here to absorb stepping on rocks and whatever. So anyway, let me take this kettlebell up here, and I'll show you, you can hear it. So as I push and launch, I'm absorbing, and I'm not losing a lot of energy when I go to explode and launch that weight. Now the different thing is, doing snatch, kettlebell snatch, I don't think lifters are as important. I really don't even have to bring my heels off the ground. Just depends on what you do with the snatch. But jerk is totally different. To launch and absorb. Snatch, and jerk. So same thing with long cycle, clean, jerk. So there, if you're really into doing kettlebell long cycle or jerk, getting the weight overhead, then lifters, once you're good at the technique, then lifting shoes can definitely make a difference. You might notice you have a little bit more launch. You might notice you're more stable, things like that. But when you're just starting to get into it, I really wouldn't waste your money. Just wearing like a flatter soled shoe that doesn't have a large drop, so like Vans or skate shoes or something like that, minimal shoes that don't have a really large drop from heel to toe. Those can help because it makes you feel the ground. But yeah, what you probably want to stay away from is really spongy running shoes if you're doing kettlebell sport, especially jerk, especially long cycle, which is clean and jerk. So anyway, if you're going to do long cycle and jerk, I think once you're good and your technique is awesome and you want to take another step, then you can definitely invest in shoes. Maybe you had a belt before that, or a kettlebell sport specific belt, something like that. But I don't think that shoes are absolutely imperative to have when you're first starting it. There's a lot of different companies that make these are absolutely pretty inexpensive because I really don't get a lot out of lifting shoes for how I do it, even competition. One thing I would like better is if it was a wider, because my feet get tired. I have a very wide foot. I don't like getting smushed together. That's probably from wearing minimal shoes for the last 10 years. So when I wear lifters, they're really trying to squeeze in together. But some kettlebell sport shoes, like specific kettlebell lifting shoes or weightlifting shoes, can have a broader toe box that I've seen from, I think, Laboratory of Champions and a couple other ones out there. But anyway, there's my thought on whether or not you need lifting shoes when you're starting with kettlebell sport. Swing this.